Welcome back to the channel with another Photoshop tutorial. Today we're going to be looking at how to retouch. So it's a retouching series and we're going to be retouching the photo you see on the screen. Alright, so I'm going to be showing you some tips and tricks you can actually use when editing your raw images. Sometimes you don't just know the right method to use to get the photo look good. Alright, so just a few tips you can actually use and trick. Alright, so first thing first, let's see what we want to adjust or what we want to fix. Look at the background and you're going to see shadows. Look at a skin, you're going to see variation, different skin variation, some yellow, some saturated, some spots and blemishes on her face, and also you can see that the skin below is actually having rough blemishes and rashes. Look at her eyes closely and you see it's not the way it should be. It's not white, it's actually like ash. And the teeth also, you can see the brown part of her hair, and you know it's actually easier to fix this in Capture One because I like Capture One and other tools, other software I mean to say. So let's get started. First thing first, let's try and remove the shadows. I'm going to start with the curve, using the curve. So let's bring up the curve and close it. Go to select and color range. Now that we have that, I'm going to select just the shadows. So just pick the shadows. You can hold down shift and pick more of the shadows because that is where we want, and then click OK. Now after clicking that, it's just going to automatically update the curve, the mask of the curve, and you can hold down Alt and click on it, but let's feather it out. So go to blur and Gaussian blur to feather the mask of the mask you see, and it's okay, and it's going to feather it out. And now open the curves layer and let's brighten things up. If you take the slider backwards towards the white side, it's going to make it darker, just like this. You see, it's going to make it darker. So I want it to be bright, so I'm just going to bring it up just like that till where we can see it blend enough. And if you take this up, it's going to make it more brighter, of which we don't want that. So bring it down till when it blends just fine. So just something like this should be okay for me. And we're going to use frequency separation to blend that later on, or you can make it more, brighter. And we're going to blend it later with frequency separation, not to worry. So now that it's actually bright unlike before, let's try and fix the skin color. So looking at the skin, bringing up adjustment layer, the hue and saturation, you can see that we want to adjust the yellow in the photo. So you can see the part here, it's actually yellow, looking more like orange, but I guess it's yellow. We still have some greens, green feel. So let's just use this one to attend to everything. So click select yellow and immediately you're going to see the transformation. Let's remove this one. I just clicked it so we can actually zoom in and zoom out. So see what happens as we decrease the saturation, and you can see that before and after. I decrease the saturation of the skin, trying to make it look like this. Alright, so we can bring up, let's leave this one for this and bring on another one, which is the hue and saturation adjustment layer again. And very easy, if you don't know the color, you can just click on the end tool and select that part. So I'm going to select this part. It's telling me it's actually red, and if we decrease, it's actually reddish. So we can bring it down like this. I think that's okay. Let's bring another one, hue and saturation. So why I'm not using just one is because I can actually turn it off and turn it on and see the one, adjust the opacity and feel. So one more. So I feel green is actually more present there. So I'm going to go to the greens and let's see if the green is more present. Saturation, sorry, I was doing some other things. Okay, I can't see any greens. Let's use the end tool then and select what this range of color is. It's still telling me red. Okay, let's just use this other trick. Let's increase the hue. Let's increase the hue and I'm going to increase the slider till where that side is actually selected, so take it up a little bit. So I guess here, and let's do it like this. Take this back to 0 and decrease the saturation. Okay, so I think that fixes it. Okay, so let's see before and after. So just fixes it a little bit. So the rest we should leave for frequency separation. We can actually, mess around with the U also. Okay, that's okay. Let's go back to the second one and let's mess around with the U to make the skin color the same. So that's too much. Around 3. Taking it back, look red, so I'm just going to increase it a little bit. So this looks fine for me. +1 should be okay. And we can go to the first one also and let's mess around with the U, and this looks so natural to me. -9 just looks like the skin of the neck, the color of the neck. So let's just decrease it a little bit. So kind of -6 looks good to me. Alright, so now I'm going to group everything, select everything, group it all together, and you can see the before and then the after just by using U and saturation and then this. So let's use frequency separation to make things look better. So hit Ctrl Shift Alternate E to create a stem visible layer, and I'm going to duplicate it twice. You know how to do your frequency separation. So it's rename one color. It's just separating the color and the texture layer to work on them independently. Alright, so now turn off the texture layer and select the color. Go to select filter, rather go blur and blur, Gaussian blur. I'm going to blur it very well so as to have more details on the texture layer. So I guess let's say around 15 looks good. If that's too much, let's just use 13 and hit enter. So turn on the texture layer, select the texture layer, go to image, apply image, and subtract on this one. Go to the layer and select color, and it's okay. It's going to separate. So I'm going to zoom in. You can see that I separated the texture and the color. So now change the blending mode to linear light, and we can group these two together because it's frequency separation. Now the texture layer, you're going to use the clone stamp tool, and for the color layer you're going to use the mixer tool brush. So it's just easy. Just use the brush and set your settings the way it is up. You can make your wet higher. I like using +9 or 14. It's just make things easier. So I'm going to quickly do the frequency separation. You can see how I'm brushing the image with the magic brush tool. So you can do that, and make sure you don't mess around with the highlights. Sometimes I don't brush the highlight, I just leave it because so it makes the picture look so natural. So I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to come back to show you how it affected the image overall. So you can take your time and make things look better. Alright, so I'm done with the skin, and you can see the background we talked about earlier, which is the shadows. Yeah, I promised to fix that with frequency separation, so you can just brush around there and blend it all together, and it's not going to show. So somewhere like this is just to blend it together, and you can see that it's gone. So that's one trick you can use to fix some things like that. You can keep on blending it and it's just not going to show any longer. So I can see some place here fixed like that. So you can fix it, and also blend this part by just dragging and blending the background. So something like this. Okay, so now that we fixed that, we can go ahead and fix the blemishes of the skin. Alright, so let's zoom in, decrease the size of the brush, pick the clone stamp tool, and you know what to do. Hold down Alt to select a place. I normally turn my align tool off. Hold down Alt and sample a place and click on it. and it's just going to remove it. Alright, we're on the color layer instead of the texture layer, so hold down Alt and click on it and it's gone. So decrease it enough and start doing so for all the image, the blemish part. So you can just see I'm just clicking on one spot and it's fixing there. Just fix on where the pore is too large and you're good to go. Alright, so I'm gonna do this and then I'm gonna come back to the video. You need to take your time and fix the photo. If not, you're not going to get the desired result you want. So you can see me picking on the pores one by one after the other, just to get the right skin. Or you can just do things the way you want and then create an artificial skin texture for the model. Alright, so I'm done with the frequency separation, and let me quickly close and show you before and after. So you can see so many changes. The background shadows, the eyes, the water from the eyes removed, see, and some different skin variations. So I guess there is one I haven't fixed yet, which is the let's open up this, which is the rashes in the body. So I'm just going to decrease the size of the clone stamp tool, and I'm just quickly going to use Alt to fix all those. Like, just click on it over, hold down Alt, select, and for the sake of the tutorial I'm not just going to do everything, but you know what to do when fixing things like that. Okay, so that's just some places, and I'm gonna quickly fix this and this one. So I don't want the video to be so long. Alright, so I'm gonna leave that one. It's assigned from up. Okay, so I guess there are some in the shadows you can remove. So let's take that out. Okay, alright, so that's okay. Now let's go to the whitening of the eyes. So let's create a stamp. Okay, no need to even create a stamp visible layer. Let's create a photo filter, and before that, a solid color. Let's start with a solid color. I'm showing you the two methods you can use. You can use the solid color method. So this is solid color method. Turn up the layer, double click on the color picker and select the eyes. It's going to show you color right here, and click on OK. Alright, so I'm going to change the selection, turn it back on, change the selection to divide. It's going to make the image so bright. So invert. Now when you invert, pick the brush tool, the normal brush, and just paint over the eyes like this with the white as foreground color. So just something like this, although it's going to be too bright first of all, but don't worry about that. So since we have it, let's also do that for the teeth and bring it like this. Okay, yeah, so those are the white parts of the image. Now it's looking like this. So go back to the color picker and take it up till you have, if you take it up too much, you're not gonna get the real brightness, but it doesn't just brighten everything up. Please, it doesn't look natural, but you can decrease the opacity and that. So the other method, I'm going to get rid of this one, is the use of photo filter, and go to the photo filter, select the black, the cooling filter, blue cooling filter, which is this one, cooling filter 82, and it's the blue one. Click on that, close it, create another one, and that should be black and white. Alright, if you can create black and white, you can create the saturated one, and I'm going to add another one, which is the curves, and this time around I'm going to take it up to brighten the eyes. not too much, just a bit. Let's take this one up, not too much, just a bit to brighten it up. Okay, so group the three together, whichever one you prefer, and create a mask for it. Invert the mask, and let's take our brush tool, same thing, and zoom in, and we're gonna paint over. Let's make the brush softer, so we're just gonna paint on it like this. So, and the side too, and at it, so something like this, and we can zoom out and you can just see the difference, so before and after. Alright, so we can open it up and decrease the black and white layer. Let's just take the opacity downwards, it's like 50%, and also the curve, we can take it back to 50% to make it look more natural. Alright, so that's the way I'm gonna do that. Okay, so next step, let's make let's create a stand visible layer, and let's take the photo to camera raw filter. Some raw images need camera raw filter. So here we are in camera raw filter. Let's start with the basic tab, and let's see what the white balance can do. Just clicking on it and change the, gives the golden melanin. Yeah, we can see the before, turn it off, and after. So just the golden skin tone we've been waiting for. Increase the exposure. Should we start with the exposure? Let's just take the exposure up a bit to brighten up the photo, and we can go to the highlight, bring up the highlight. And I don't like the way the dark part here, so it's actually the black, so you can bring it up just by 8 or 5, and the shadows too, bring it up by 7. Okay, that should be fine. We can bring back the white. Okay, I think that's okay. Increasing the highlight too. Alright, so the exposure is just the main thing we need to fix, because the photo is actually darker. Let's try if we can actually bring it up to make it more brighter, and that looks fine for me. Alright, so I'm going to close. Okay, let's give it some texture, and close the basic tab, and open up the curves. And you know what we normally do to add contrast, take this up and bring this down, and we have something like this. So let's go back to the exposure and the highlight now again, and bring this back a little bit, and the highlight back a little bit. Close it. Color mixing. Now the oranges, let's go to the hue. I'm going to make the orange look more like the yellows, just a bit, taking it to make we look, yeah, okay, I think we need to tilt it towards the red side, and the yellows, let's make it look like the orange, so by taking it back. Okay, I guess we can actually make this one look purplish, of which I don't see any purple in the image. Alright, so I see some magenta here. Let's make it look more of the magenta, and the rest, so no blues. Okay, we can decrease the saturation of the blues just for the eyes, purpose of the eyes. Yeah, the saturation of the blues, and that of the aqua. For the purple, I will increase the saturation, that will bring more focus to the eyes, and that of the magenta. Okay, so the red, we can decrease the saturation of the red just a bit, and let's decrease the saturation of the orange too to give it that look. Can increase the yellow and the luminance. Let's take this one, make it brighter, and the yellows just like that, so as to bring it out from the background, and that's looking good to me. We can brighten up the the blues too. Alright, so that's it for the color mixer. We can turn it on and off, and you can see the difference in the photo. So for the color grading, let's make the shadows look more. I like using color balance for it. So let's just bring it down a little, and this one I'm gonna take it, make it look more hot, so something like this. Sometimes I don't touch the mid-tones, but we can add some, you know, color like this. So that's it for the color grading. Calibration, color calibration. Let's see, taking this forward, yeah, gives it this reddish. You take it backwards, makes it more, you know, black, and I think that's looking awesome compared to the forward one, but it's just the golden skin, and I prefer that one to this. So let's just give it some golden skin and bring the blue primary backwards. Wow, amazing. Okay, so I'm gonna leave. You can actually mess around with the greens and see where, you know, fits. So I guess +2 or somewhere like +7. So let's take it back a little bit, +4, and I'm gonna close it, and it's okay on the keyboard. And you can see the big difference between before and after. So let's wait for focus to render that out, so you can see the before and after, before and after. So you can go on and edit the photo using dodging and burning and so many more, but I'm going to stop here for the sake of the tutorial. We can actually divide it into 2 parts, so I'll show you a few tricks you can use in making your photo get better. I'm going to turn off the rest where we started, and let's see the before, where we started from, to after, where we go to. So amazing transformation. If you want to go ahead and do some dodging and burning, like I said, you can do that. If you want to do black in the air or brighten up some things and more of the color grading, there's so much you can do, you won't actually finish up. So once again, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for staying tuned. This is Asa's Studio, and see you in our next tutorial. Thank you.